So this may be an awful idea, and it could turn out looking absolutely terrible, but I want to try to completely randomize a 6-day star blanket from my stash. The idea behind this is to use my stash of varying weights. I like to do the 6-day star in a bulky weight because it goes really fast. So I want to use multiple weights and multiple numbers of strands to make the yarn equal bulky weight, whatever that is. I will look that up. And then have color groupings that I pull out of a hat. So, for example, if it turns out that bulky weight is 3 strands of DK, I will have like a little mystery jar where I pull out of a hat and it might say, I think I'm going to group them lights and neutrals, darks and brights, and then variegated for each weight. So one might be 2 lights and a dark, or one variegated, one dark, and one light. Um, we'll see. I'm going to have to go through my stash and figure out how much I have of each. And I will make rules that I may break because it is my project. Um, but I want to make it as random as possible. The only spot that will not be random will be the beginning, because they do recommend when you make the pattern that the first couple of rounds you don't use variegated yarn. That's going to change because it's such a focal point. You notice it too much, and I've made one before where it's had a little strip of one color and it drives me crazy. My eyes go right to it. So what I'm going to do is wait to throw variegated in until maybe the first 5 rounds. So I'm going to start going through my stash right now, and then I can get started. Are you ready for this? DK. You're not even going to be able to even see this. Oh yeah, yarn's going everywhere. Okay, I went through it. I took out everything that I wanted to keep, either that I had multiple skeins of, so I felt like I could use that for a full project, or something that I bought for a project, or yarn that was just too nice and beautiful to just throw into a scrap project. Not that it won't be beautiful. Who knows though? I'm actually impressed with how much this is, all the stuff that I'm willing to throw in the bag for just DK. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of even. I was worried that I wouldn't have a lot of like one category. So I have neutrals and lights based on my discretion, as close as I could get, darks and brights, and variegated. So that would be self-striping, regular variegated, if I just felt like there was a lot of color in it. And because I'm not sure how some of them, if they're self-striping, etc. There's a few in here that I have multiples of, but it's yarn that's been sitting there forever, and I need to get rid of stuff. So I'm very excited because prior to this, I had the DK stored in multiple places and my bin was overflowing. But now everything fits in the bin, which is progress. We'll see how much of this we actually use. But for now, if I use everything that's here, this guy is nice and neat. And some of those have projects that they're assigned to. So here's DK. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bag for each category and throw them in. And I'm pulling them out of a hat. It's not like when it says DK bright and dark, I get to pick. No, it's whatever comes up. So this could be hideous, could be cool. I don't know. It's sort of an experiment and fun. So next will be worsted because I'm doing 3 strands of DK. And I understand that it doesn't always come out exactly the same size, but the way I do my 6-day star, there's some variation sometimes, and I kind of like how that looks, so I don't really mind so much. I don't know that gauge is that important here. So I'm just using that rule that it's 3 DK. If one's thicker than another and thinner than another, fine. It's going to be 3 strands of DK, 2 strands of worsted, and 1 strand of bulky weight if I have any of those. So on to worsted. I went through my worsted. Uh, Worsted was hard because I have a ton of it, but I really like having a lot around for some kind of scrap projects. Like I'm doing my book project and I need a lot of shades of different colors. So I didn't want to use up everything, but I was able to find a substantial amount of kind of duplicates or things that I know I won't really use very much. So I think I have a good amount here. You may be able to see back here, I reduce, reuse, and recycle. I'm using my Trader Joe's bags here. Those are my DK bags that I'm going to reach in to pull from when I have a new row to start. So I just wanted to talk quickly. I'm also going to go through my bulky, and if I have some bulky, I'm going to throw that in a bag. Not sure if I'm going to separate those out by color or just randomly grab a bulky. I am going to put 3 bulky slips in my mystery jar so that I kind of have a good mix. I'm going to have, because there's so many combinations of the DK that I'm going to be pulling from DK a lot. So I want a good mix of the 3 weights. So I'm just throwing a couple extra in there. Want to go through sort of my shaky rules. So basically, as I said before, the first 5 rows I don't want variegated. So I'm not putting the variegated slips in my jar or whatever I'm going to pull from, because you want that center to be solid colors, because it really draws your eye, as I mentioned before. Um, so after 5 rows, I'm going to throw those slips in. But subsequently, I've decided that what I'm going to do is any of the used slips as I going forward, every time I do 5 rows, I'm going to take the slips out, but I'm going to throw them back in every 5 just so we can mix it up again. Because I'm pulling different colors every time, it's not going to look repetitive. So, but with yarn, I am not going to put it back into the bag unless I start running out of yarn, and then I will throw them back in and reuse them later. We'll see how that goes. If I run out of yarn in the middle of a row, so for example, if I'm doing, 2 colors, say I pull this gray and this red, and I run out of the gray, then I'm going to reach into the bag that the gray came from. So that's my neutral light bag, and blindly grab another one to finish out the row. Every row, though, is going to be a brand new pull. So even if I have yarn left at the end of the row, I'm going to cut and start fresh, pull, and grab a new ball. So, and also I may add yarn as I go because I am working on a couple of scrap projects right now where I still need some colors of yarn. And if I have any left over, I'm just going to throw them in to use them up. So, the plan is for the pattern, and this is what I always do when I make a bulky version of the 6-day star. She has setup rounds. I think there's 9 of them. I don't have the pattern in front of me right now. But what I do is the setup rounds, and then I do 3 repeats of the regular rounds. They start with row 2. It has something to do with another pattern that has the same instructions in their row 2. So whatever, it's like row 2 through 7. I do row 2 through 7 3 times. And then I like a single crochet border on it. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. So next what I'm going to do is pull out the bulky. I'm going to bag this up, and then I'm going to do my first pull and see what we get. Okay, we're losing daylight here, but I went through my bulky, and I have my big Beekman 1802 bag here filled with some bulky. So we'll see what happens with that. So I am going to go ahead and cut out my slips and make my first pull. I have my hook ready, but I cannot find my pattern anywhere. I do have it electronically, but I have notes all over this one copy, and when I was cleaning up, I don't know what I did with it. I didn't put it back in my normal spot, which is a big mistake. So hopefully I will find it, and otherwise I will just print a new copy and try to remember my notes. Okay, this is so exciting. Time to start. Okay, these are my variegateds. So I'm going to put those right now in the spot of my cute little Orla Kylie dish, as if I've used them already, because I'm not using them for the first 4 or 5 rows, but 4 colors. Because the first 2 rows I do in the same color. So let's see our first pick. I'm going to mix them up. What do we get? I don't know why I'm closing my eyes because I can't see. Got something ready. It's DK. We're going to do something from dark, bright, and neutral light. So that's what I pulled. Can you see it? I don't know. The camera's so far away. Sorry, that's as far as I'm going. So we have neutral light. We have 1 of those. I just saw the bag there, so I'm going to grab this first. I want to grab something of substantial size so I don't have a color switch. I'm going to grab this one. Ooh, we got a pretty pale blue. So now I need 2 dark brights. Here we go. I'm taking this one. Oh, that's interesting. Like a teal. That's clearly unraveling on me here. Let's get her out. Oh my gosh. Got time to get rid of this skein. Whoops. We're getting some green here too. I don't want that. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. There we go. All right, let's feel around in here. And what is this? Oh my. This is starting very crazy. We're looking very tropical here. Okay. So we're going to combine these 3 colors together. This blanket is going to be interesting. That's for sure. Okay. So I'm going to unravel that later because it's a mess. I do make this with a 9mm, so I have that ready. I'm going to search high and low for my pattern and get started on these 2 or these 3, which will be my first 2 rows. Let's go. Apparently I was wrong. The first, I think she said 6 to 9 rows don't look good when you change the color. So maybe I'll go to 6. I don't know. I'm going to play with it and see how it looks. sorry, the lighting is super bad. I finished the first round and had some dinner, and then came up and quickly finished the second round because, as I've mentioned, the only one I'm duplicating are the first 2 rounds. And here we are. I don't know if you can see the colors and how they look in this light, but it's pretty. It's going to depend on what comes up next, though. If I have, like, I don't know, like red, white, and brown or something, it's going to start looking crazy, but I'm going to trust the process. I have a feeling this is going to go very quickly because I cannot wait to get to the next row so I can see what color I'm working with next. Have a lot of yarn left, so I didn't really need to grab these huge balls for the first one. It doesn't take as much yarn at the beginning, so I'm going to grab some smaller ones now because they're going to run out in subsequent rows. So yeah, I think this looks pretty. Again, it's going to depend on the other colors. So let's draw the next one. Okay, here we go. I got a couple in my hand. Here's one. Is it just one? Yes. Okay. What do we have next? Oh, got another DK. I have, ooh, I have all DB. So that's dark and bright. 3 dark and brights. Let me get my bag. Okay, I did my housekeeping. I put my used slip in its spot, and I put my used yarn in the used bag before things get confusing. I just grabbed my dark and bright bag. Let's see what we get. I have to pick 3 from here. Oh, I'm looking in the bag. What am I doing? Okay, I'm going to mix these up. This is going to get noisy. Sorry. Maybe I want to get cloth bags going forward for this. First one. Uh-oh. Brown. I'm not sure if I'll get red and black. That will be hilarious. Oh. Well, it's kind of a red. It's like a reddish rust color, which again, I'm not sure how this is going to look near my tropical colors I pulled the first time. All right, one more. What do we have? Green? Okay, this is giving Christmas a little bit, but oh, this is going to be a strange one. Let's see how it works up. Hey, I'm following my rules. I'm going straight random, so I'm not going to cheat here. Some technical difficulties. I just made a video and pulled worsted. I got dark bright plus dark bright, but my mic died halfway through, so I have another mic that I just put on. Thankfully I noticed it. So now I am going to choose 2 from this bag and do my first worsted section. Let's hope the gauge works. Okay, it's noisy again, but let me reach around and see what I can find. The first one is ooh, bright purple. We have a little theme going here of bright colors. Okay, that's the first one. Let's grab the second. I'll grab something small. Oh my goodness. Hot pink. Okay, this is going to be one crazy blanket. All right, so I'm going to get going on round 4, color 3. Just wanted to jump on here real quick. I'm not camera ready right now, but I want to keep going on the blanket, but wanted to show you my project from last night. Here we go. This is where we are so far. It's actually not as bad as I first thought. I think it's going to be okay as we add more. I had a couple of bulky rows in a row and they were solid color. So this will be interesting. Again, I think it's giving very 80s, especially this like day glow. We got Miami Vice here. We've got pink and brown, which I don't know, for some reason reads 80s to me, but it's not too bad. I waited to add the variegated slips until the setup rounds were done. So this is the entire setup. So it's rounds 1 through 9. So now I'm going to add back in all the previous slips I pulled, plus the slips that have variegated added. I was really nervous because I thought that holding 3 strands of yarn was going to be a nightmare with being splitty and missing like layers of it or plies of it, I should say. And I'm not having any of those kind of problems. So it's pretty cool. So it's using up a whole bunch of yarn. So I'm going to keep going. I just wanted to give an update. And here we are. It's oddly looking kind of dull, almost like it's just gray. It's so bright in the middle and then really solid and then just like a sea of kind of grayish, bluish. It's kind of what it looks like on camera. It's a little busier in real life. So I feel like this center is so different from the rest of it. And if you just look at the blanket from like maybe here, it's kind of cool. Maybe we'll get some bright colors as we go, but I have finished the center rounds. So that's the startup rounds, and they go to about here where you see a little bit of this yellow. And then from here to here is one repeat of the the regular rows. So they go, again, weird, but row 2 through 7. So we had 2 here, which was a dark and bright plus a neutral light plus a neutral light. Here we got neutral light, neutral light, neutral light. And basically at that point, I think I only had like 2 left of neutral left in my DK bag. Then I got bulky, which is kind of fun. As you see, we got a little bit of texture, which is good because it was looking a little flat, especially because I had a little bit of this like chenille in here. I'm like, if that's the only odd like fabric, it's going to be strange. Then we got a dark bright, once again, neutral light, and a variegated. So actually, this one was my last neutral light I had left in my DK. And then I went to, once again, neutral light plus dark, bright, and neutral light. So what I did here, and this is the end, like the middle. Let's see if I can move this around. So what I did was I found some little teeny tiny scraps of DK in my DK box. And I said, well, instead of using the same colors over again, maybe I'll do this. But then I said, nope, I'm going to throw it back into the mix, everything back into the mix. And I said, I just hope I don't get that yellow because I used it not far back in the blanket. And what do you know? I put everything back in and I pulled yellow again. So then I said, you know what? I am going to use those little scraps. And what do I pull? Another shade of yellow. And it was a teeny tiny ball. It's more of a tweed. And then I ran out. So I thought, well, since I pulled that other yellow, instead of pulling again, I'm just going to use it because the universe was telling me to. And it's similar enough in that row. So I finished up with that. And this is like Debbie Bliss Cashmerino cotton or something. I don't know. And then finally, the last row of the first repeat or the last round is round 7, and I got neutral, light, but worsted. So I had plenty of that, and I got like this blue and then a variegated. And I had 2 balls of this, and sort of as you see, there's different. This is where the first ball ended, and then I had 2 little tiny balls of it, and I've got this in my yarn bowl, but this is what it looks like. And it went around, it was like pink and orange, and then it went to purple and orange, purple and blue, orange and yellow, and then I went back around to the original color from the first or the second ball. So I finished the first ball and I only have this much left of that. So that was good. So that's where I am. So now I have to do 2 more of these from here to here, and that should be the whole blanket, unless I feel like the colors look a little weird. And then what I'm going to do is maybe just keep going. And then when I feel like stopping, I'll just do 1 row of single crochet. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pull that or pick a color for the end just to kind of finish it off. I probably should just pick, but we'll see what happens. So that's our progress. Are we done? My neighbors are having some work done, and apparently Fritz is not pleased with the contractors that they chose. I'm going to try to get through this. If the video is silent later, you know why. I just yelled down to him, I'm videoing. I don't need any darky bogs. And then I started laughing because I don't know, it sounds like something from like an Irish horror story, like in the darky bogs, they found the guns. Anyway, back to knitting and well, no. Oh, I did it. Crocheting, the 6-day star. I have completed the second repeat of the rounds. So I wanted to show you my progress. I'm still not sure how I feel about the colors. I don't know that I would have chosen the colors the way they came up. But I'm going to just let it go and trust the process and keep going and just see how it comes out. I have found some unexpected cool color combinations that I might use for future projects. So if anything, that's what I got out of this exercise. So let's do our reveal. Are you ready? It's the final reveal. I have finished the blanket. So what do you think? Let's break it down. So here are my thoughts on my completely randomized 6-day star blanket, my mystery jar 6-day star. So I had too many DKs, I think. I didn't, like at the beginning, I said I was going to throw, after I went through 5 slips, I was going to throw them back into the jar. I only did that after the setup rounds, and that was the right decision. I probably shouldn't even have done it then. because I felt like I was pulling up too much of the same thing. It was a good idea for me to put multiple bulky weights in there so it came up a little more often. I'm I probably should have done that as well with the worsted. I actually ran out of the neutral light in DK numerous times. I I guess I didn't have enough, or like I had too many grays in there or something. But yeah, I think it would have been better to not have such like long stripes of blah gray, but it's not bad. The other thing I wouldn't do if I were to do this again was to throw in more yarn as I went. As I found DK or worsted weight, or as I finished other projects, I threw them in the bags. I should not have done that because I really wanted to show how much yarn I had at the beginning and how much at the end. So I don't really know how much I use because it almost looks like I have more yarn now than when I started. So next time I'll do a better job of that, and maybe I'll even weigh the yarn just to see how much I used up of scrap yarn in the blanket. I will be 100% honest. I have not woven in all of these ends, and there are a lot. But I just wanted to get the video out here, and I will do that. It really doesn't take that long. I always think it's this daunting task, and then it gets done. And I do these multicolored blankets all the time. It's really not that bad. Um, do I love this blanket and how it came out? No, I don't hate it. My husband loves it. He is obsessed with it. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's that I'm a control freak and I really wanted a little more control in the colors, and it was, giving me anxiety. Um, but it was a pretty cool exercise. I think what I've learned from this is I'd like to do another one again, but not so random. Like maybe pull out all of my yarn, grab some, similar colors with a couple of contrasts in there, and decide sort of on like a color palette, and then pull and more intentionally pull. I think it would be awesome. And like I said previously, there's a couple of color combinations that we use together that I never would have picked, that I kind of like. So this gave me a little bit of inspiration to play with some colors and kind of double strand things um, in ways I wouldn't have before. So it was worthwhile to do this. So let me know what you think. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I won't be upset because it was random. I didn't make the choices. The center is, to me, the most unfortunate because it stands out so much. Again, my husband said that was his favorite part. He loves this dark color in here. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So I have another Afghan. But let me know what you think. And if you try to do this or you've made the 6-day star, please post videos below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like, and I will see you next time. Thanks for going through this with me.